Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions, and thank you so much for our time together. This is Saturday. We've got great services tonight and all services in all three locations tomorrow with Pastor Larry Stockstill. It's just like sitting down with an old shoe. And I don't say that to be in any way uncomplimentary. I mean it with greatest compliment. When you sit down with Brother Larry and he begins to teach the Word, you can relax, you can be comfortable. This is a man that has lived the life. He took over a church that his father had pioneered. He pastored it. Now his sons are pastoring it. A great work, 50 years old. But they've lived the life, and they're men of principle, the entire family. So we're going to enjoy Pastor Larry Stockstill's ministry. It was a great time with the pastors on Friday morning. So please, be in the services. We'll have a great time together. I want to teach you for just a moment today out of Colossians chapter 3. As we get down to the very last verse, have you ever noticed sometimes you skip over those last verses? Paul says, anyone who does wrong, now he's writing to Christians. He's not writing to sinners. Anyone who does wrong will be repaid for his wrong, and there is no favoritism. Brothers and sisters, I know that there's people that have taken the doctrines of grace and taken them to such an extreme today that somehow they think that there are no consequences for actions, but there are consequences. When we do wrong, yes, by the grace of God, we are forgiven. But when we do wrong, we also have to understand that we face the consequences. Let me say that again. We have to face the consequences. Now, Paul said very clearly here, anyone, and he's writing to Christians, whether they're leaders, whether they're members, whether they're deacons, whether they're husbands, whether they're wives, whether they're children, anyone who does wrong will be repaid for his wrong. In other words, they will face the consequences. And there is no favoritism. You see, in God's house, there's justice. Justice is one of the things the Bible calls light. That's what attracts people to God, is that in God there's no favoritism. There's just justice. When people do right, they're blessed. When people do wrong, they face consequences. Now, I want to challenge you today. When you begin to hear people talk about grace in a way that makes you believe that you can do whatever you want and there are no consequences, that's just not true. And if you begin to follow that teaching, your life is going to wind up with a lot of pain and a lot of shipwreck because it's going to lead you away from God. For every action, there is a consequence. For every action, there is either a blessing or there is a penalty. Let us learn to make good decisions and receive blessings in Jesus' name.